Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, a woman is accused of biting deputies in Whitley County. We'll talk to health officials about how serious that can be. And President Trump says he is confident a deal can be reached to end the war in Ukraine.
First alert weather days have been declared for Saturday and Sunday due to active weather pushing through. Details coming up.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. A woman in Whitley County is facing several charges after reportedly biting sheriff's deputies, possibly putting their health at risk. WYMT's Neely Green spoke to a healthcare provider about protocols that officials take to stay safe.
A woman in Williamsburg is facing charges after reportedly biting two sheriff's deputies and breaking one deputy's nose with his own baton Monday night.
As far as law enforcement and healthcare, they all get trained in universal precautions. So a lot of times you'll see, officers are using gloves, goggles, whatever it is they need.
The woman arrested is Amy Mabes, and she also told authorities she has AIDS and hepatitis, possibly putting the deputies involved at risk for exposure.
Exposure, like maybe an example of saliva, that's an extremely low risk if it's just an exposure to saliva. Usually you have to have a skin break, and then it has to be a blood-to-blood exposure.
Dr. John Jones is the medical director for primary care centers of Eastern Kentucky, and he says in cases where folks might be exposed to a disease, you should first clean the area.
If there is an exposure, a blood-to-blood or a wound like a bite, that's something that, of course, you would go and you would wash with soap and water. That would be the first thing you would do.
Jones says healthcare providers will typically provide you with the resources to monitor your status.
A lot of times healthcare providers will give you some medication, we call it PrEP, and it's a preventative to ensure you don't contract a virus like HIV.
If necessary, providers will conduct tests to make sure a person has not contracted something. In Perry County, Neely Green, WYMT Mountain News.
Jones says if it is needed, healthcare providers may choose to do some follow-up laboratory work to check blood results. A man police say is linked to 3 overdose deaths has been indicted in federal court. A federal grand jury indicted Brian Epperson on 2 counts for knowingly distributing a substance containing meth that caused 2 overdose deaths. The first happened in Powell County. Kristen Morris was found dead from an apparent overdose at an Airbnb in May. Then in June, Rachel Dawson was found dead in a hotel in Winchester. Epperson was charged with murder in Powell County. He's charged with meth possession in Clark County. Police also think he's linked to a 3rd woman's death in Fayette County. A busy Perry County roadway was shut down this afternoon due to a fire. The Sheriff's Department posted on Facebook that Eugene Walker's garage on Highway 28 was on fire across from Dexter Howard's old store. The roadway is now open again. No injuries were reported. A scary situation last night after a game-winning kick at a high school soccer game in Louisville. Take a look at this video. The soccer player kicks a game-winning penalty kick to win the match, then runs over to celebrate with his students, and that happens. The railing holding the student section collapsed. The school's athletic director says several fans and players were hurt, but nothing too serious, fortunately. The school says the bleachers were inspected by the county back on September 5th and were found to be in compliance with regulations. A wrongful death lawsuit has now been filed 1 week after a deadly explosion at a Tennessee plant. That victim is Jeremy Moore. His daughter is named in that lawsuit. It's requesting up to $12 million in damages. The lawsuit accuses the plant's owner of being responsible for the explosion due to gross negligence. Moore is one of 16 people who have been identified. Tomorrow is National Move Over Day. It's a day that brings awareness to Kentucky's Move Over, Slow Down law. In a survey by the AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety, 60% of tow workers, emergency responders, and road maintenance workers have experienced a near miss while working roadside. That survey also found 15% of those workers have survived being hit by a passing vehicle. Well, it's been a beautiful week, but unfortunately, some changes are coming this weekend. We've declared first alert weather days for the weekend, although most of tomorrow should be pretty nice. First alert meteorologist Eric Dean has more on what to expect. Eric.
That's right, Steve. Don't let tomorrow fool you. The actual active weather is going to be tomorrow night going into the overnight hours and into the morning hours of your Sunday. Right now, we're seeing temperatures in the low 70s. Look at McCreary County near Whitley City. Feels like 72 out there. Here's a look at First Alert Live. Pinpoint Doppler radar. All is quiet throughout eastern Kentucky. Heck, pretty much the entire Ohio Valley as well. A little bit of cloud cover. We'll keep the clouds in the forecast for tonight. Our weather maker, though, for the weekend is still off towards the west. Now, we do have a marginal risk for severe weather, or a level 1 out of 5 for the western portion of the WYMT viewing area for tomorrow night. Notice how it pushes into the area for the day on Sunday. And it's because of that, first alert weather days have been declared. Showers and storms will start to ramp up. Main impacts will be heavy wind, a little bit of hail, and some vivid lightning. Localized flash flooding is not out of the question either. So if you have plans for tonight, there's your timeline. You can see right there, temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s overnight. Tomorrow, for the most part, not bad. But again, tomorrow night is when things start to kind of go gangbusters. And we'll talk about that coming up in the first alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
Eric, thank you. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited with President Donald Trump this afternoon. Zelensky says he is ready to negotiate and is pushing for a ceasefire, but claims Russian President Vladimir Putin is not serious about peace. Zelensky is also requesting American-made Tomahawk missiles to bolster the fight against Russia. President Trump says he is considering it. He also says a meeting with Putin in Hungary could happen within the next 2 weeks. Former White House National Security Advisor John Bolton pleaded not guilty to charges of mishandling classified information today. WYMT Washington correspondent Stetson Miller has the latest on that.
John Bolton surrendered to authorities on Friday to face charges of transmitting and retaining highly classified information under the Espionage Act. Bolton says he's not guilty and claims he's a victim of weaponization by the Trump Justice Department. At a federal courthouse in Maryland on Friday, former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton pled not guilty after being indicted on 18 charges related to improper handling of classified documents. He's accused of sending top secret information to family members and keeping them at his Maryland home. In a statement earlier, the frequent critic of the president pushed back on the charges and said they were part of a Trump intimidation campaign. And this is the third case brought by the Justice Department against one of President Trump's political enemies. And if Bolton is found guilty, he could face up to 10 years in prison for each charge. In Washington, I'm Stetson Miller.
It is day 17 of the government shutdown, now the third longest in modern history, and lawmakers show no signs of progress in reaching a deal to end their funding stalemate. Democrats refuse to support a short-term spending bill unless the measure extends health insurance subsidies that expire at the end of the year. Republicans say that issue will have to wait until after the government reopens. On Thursday, the Senate failed to pass a bill to fund the Pentagon for a full year, and Republicans pointed the finger at Democrats.
They are on record specifically and exclusively to block the paychecks of the troops, to block the funding of our national defense in a very dangerous moment in world history. It is absurd to us.
We look forward to sitting down with anyone, anytime, any place, either here at the Capitol or back at the White House, to reopen the government, to enact a spending agreement that actually makes life better for the American people, while also addressing decisively the Republican health care crisis.
Democrats have called on President Trump to take a more proactive role in negotiations, but a White House official says the president has no plans to personally intervene. Organizers of the No Kings protests believe millions of Americans will demonstrate against the policies of the Trump administration tomorrow. According to Forward Kentucky, protests in our area are scheduled for Hazard, Louisa, London, Middlesboro, and Moorhead. Some Republicans have called the protests anti-American, with House Speaker Mike Johnson saying it's a hate America rally. The first coal miners community picnic will take place tomorrow in Whitesburg. It will be held from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the James Wiley Craft Memorial Park next to ARH. All past and current coal miners and their families are invited. The event is hosted by the Southeastern Kentucky Black Lung Association and sponsored by MCHC Respiratory Clinics of Eastern Kentucky. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, we are testing a product that's supposed to transform a shower into a bath for your pet in just minutes.
And in the world of weather, all is quiet now, but that changes starting tomorrow. Details coming up.